Hi there, it's Rose. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm kicking off a brand new series and it's hashtag Halloween with me. Now you may be wondering, why is she doing Halloween in May? And that's a good question. But the reason is that my Halloween stash, crafty stash, is probably the largest stash that I have. Second only to maybe Christmas. I love Halloween. I love Halloween crafting, but unfortunately, there's a small window to really craft for Halloween, and I find that I like to craft for spring and summer. Then in July, I do Christmas in July, and then before you know it, it's August and September, and it doesn't give us a lot of time to craft for Halloween, so I'm starting in May. Now, what that means is that I probably won't show a Halloween craft every week from now until Halloween, but I'll be sprinkling them in here and there just because I want to use the stash that I have. I tend to bring in a lot of new Halloween crafting items every year, and then I don't always get to use them. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. I'm going to be going into the archives, pulling out some old paper and dies and stamps and creating with them. So that's what hashtag Halloween with me is going to be all about. If you would like to follow that hashtag, I will be creating a playlist if you're a Halloween lover like I am, so that you can see all the Halloween fun that will be coming along. Let's get into it and I'll show you what I made for this first installment of Halloween with me. So first I'd like to start off with my inspiration, and it is this paper pad from Carta Bella, and it's All Hallows Eve. Now this came out in 2012, and Carta Bella, yeah, there's not a lot to say. If you know, you know. I say that all the time, but their paper is a beautiful quality. I'll do just a real quick flip through. It's double-sided, and it has a lot of the browns and gray tones to it. Some black, some skeleton, bats. Not really a lot of orange. If it does have orange, it's sort of muted. It's almost more like a chalky brown than it is an orange. And then a deep green, as I said, bats, and you can see the paper looks a little bit distressed, and some patterns, but hopefully you can see kind of like almost looks like ink blending on some of it. So I thought this paper pad was so fun, and it was sealed in my stash, which means I picked it up and never used it, so I thought I would break it out. And along with some dies, some of Tim's paper dolls, a little bit of Stampin' Up in their spider webs, and some other embellishments. Let me show you what I created. Now I'm calling these sort of embellishment card toppers. I designed them originally to be embellishments, but when I took out some card fronts from my stash, I realized that they would be really nice on a card front. This is the first one, and I used oval nesting dies from Diamond Press. The first layer is black, and then the second layer is that paper. Now I have to say I did a lot of heavy distressing with vintage photo, black soot, just to deepen the colors there. And even on him, he's popped up, and the spiders were ones from my stash. I think they're recollections. This is that spider web doily that I was talking about. I cut that in half. That was originally from Stampin' Up. I don't know if they've retired that. I added a little bit of Copic to his face in green and his hands, and then some of a kind of a reddish pink around his neck, his cheeks, and his hands, just for that creepy factor. I'll show you what he looks like on the front of a card, because when I realized that they would work on cards, I made a few card bases using that paper and some cardstock that I had in my stash. And then I did distress this, but you can see it even has some of that modeling on it. And then here is what he might look like on the front of that card. So I left them off of the card fronts just because I'm not exactly sure. Halloween is still a ways away. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these embellishments, but it's likely that they will go on the front of a card. So that's my first one. Here's my second with the little girl paper doll. These are diamond press dies, the ghost and the October 31st, and the little spiders. This was an embellishment that I think was from Anna Griffin that I just popped up. It says "So Creepy." And that bat paper is, again, from that Cartabella pad, and then the black layering piece. So again, you can see that I brought in some Copics. I added pink to the bow, and then that red to her neck, her cheeks, the cuffs on her dress, and on her feet, on her shoes there. And she is popped up. There's also a banner in the back there that I have layered up. And here's the card base that I made for her, again using that paper and a black layering piece, and then that taupe card base. So this, like the other one, flips up, nothing on the inside. And then here's what she might look like on the front of that card. For my final one, I like this stripe paper from the pad and the black base. When I took out the paper dolls, I of course wanted to use these witches, the two witches together, but I thought that wasn't quite really creepy enough, so I added this lady behind them. And I've added a scallop die behind her. Again, here's a piece of that Stampin' Up! Black spiderweb doily, and then the Best Witches. I'm not exactly sure. That was in my collection. It might be Anna. I'm not 100% sure. And I added a banner using, again, part of another piece of that paper behind the Best Witches and one of the spiders. You can see that I've added the red to the purse, their hands, their cheeks, around her neck, her waist, just for that extra creep factor. I don't know what they've been doing, but they look very ominous, I think. Now here's what they might look like on a card base. This is a little bit brighter color. It's from a different paper collection, but I thought that kind of gave them the, more Halloween look. It almost looks like these two could be trick-or-treating, and she might be watching from a doorway. Kind of imagine what you want to for that one, but that's my final one. So that's what I have created for my first edition of this series, Halloween with Me. I hope you enjoy taking a look. It was really fun using my stash. I'm very excited to pull out some more and see what I create for next time. I hope you will follow along. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell notification. If you like Halloween, be sure to give me a big thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.